Could Heisei Godzilla defeat every Godzilla? There are lots of Godzillas. That's why today I'm only going to talk about Godzilla in the movies. And I'm not going to talk about power scaling exactly, because that's a little bit complicated a topic. So let's start off with Showa Godzilla. All versions of Showa Godzilla are 50 meters tall, half the size of Heisei Godzilla. Showa Godzilla has a pretty weak atomic breath, mostly burning or setting monsters on fire. Most of the films he rarely even used it, and the times he did, it basically annoyed the monsters. Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath is very explosive, and one of his most effective weapons against monsters and destruction in general. Showa Godzilla was able to throw Mecha Godzilla and Ghidorah, which is very impressive. But when you consider that Heisei Godzilla has done the exact same thing, you see that in both power and strength, Heisei Godzilla greatly exceeds that of Showa Godzilla, with Heisei Mecha Godzilla weighing 150,000 metric tons, and King Ghidorah weighing 90,000 tons. Next is Godzilla 1998. Yeah, he died of missiles. Meanwhile, Heisei Godzilla just finds them annoying. Godzilla 1998 may be able to run from Heisei Godzilla's physical attacks, but the minute that the atomic breath lands, or even grazes him, it's over for Godzilla 1998. Next is Godzilla 1999 and 2000. Not much to say, he has decent strength and durability, but his atomic breath is more like a power washer, taking seconds to even do much of anything. Not to mention he's around 50 or 60 meters tall, and that his atomic breath takes a while to charge up, where Heisei Godzilla is stated to take 1 second from the charging of his dorsal plates to the use of his atomic breath, and sometimes he doesn't even need to charge up, so this one easily goes to Heisei Godzilla. Up next is GMK Godzilla, or Godzilla 2001, whichever one you prefer. He has good strength, nothing compared to Showa Godzilla, but his atomic breath was able to kill many monsters, even though it still is like Godzilla 2000's power washer breath, taking seconds to do anything, as well as needing to charge up. He is also 60 meters tall, so with a few uses of atomic breath, Heisei Godzilla would probably defeat him. Next is Godzilla 2002 to 2003. He's basically like Godzilla 2000, except his atomic breath is more powerful, and he's around 60 meters tall, but he wouldn't really put up much of a fight against Heisei Godzilla, with him not really reacting to Mechagodzilla's attacks until he felt annoyed or threatened. But with Heisei Godzilla, there would be no time to think about attacking. Just 1 or 2 blasts of Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath would knock him out. His strength also isn't very impressive, with him struggling against Mechagodzilla and Mothra, both being able to ragdoll him around. Now is some people's favorite, Final Wars. This one will be Heisei Godzilla's most difficult fight so far. With Final Wars having many things based on Heisei Godzilla, this will be quite a back and forth fight. Final Wars is 100 meters tall, has great speed in his physical attacks, and his ability to dodge attacks. Final Wars was able to throw Kaiser Ghidorah, weighing 100,000 tons, but only after being supercharged. Heisei Godzilla was able to lift Mechagodzilla in the air, keeping him there, and spinning him around and throwing him. The lack of leverage and time Godzilla held him in the air just shows the upper and back strength Heisei Godzilla has, where Final Wars needed leverage to throw King Ghidorah. And this was before Heisei Godzilla's Rodan power-up. Both Final Wars and Heisei Godzilla have very fast atomic breaths, and both have red spiral heat rays when powered up. With Final Wars' speed, he could land multiple hits on Heisei Godzilla, maybe even knocking him down for a bit. But the moment Heisei Godzilla gets his bearings, Final Wars will be thrown to the ground from a blast of Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath. If that's not enough to defeat Final Wars, Heisei Godzilla would still have the upper hand in close combat. He would not be able to be pushed around like any of that of Final Wars' enemies. And Heisei Godzilla's punches or body slams would be much more effective than that of any Final Wars' tail whips or other physical attacks. No matter how long the fight would go on, Heisei Godzilla would have the upper hand, leaving him the victory. Next is Shin Godzilla, a monster nearly 120 meters tall. Just for an example, this is a picture of them all together. Shin Godzilla, a monster who has barely any arms, or really any physical attacks. He was also hurt by missiles, causing him to bleed. But to be fair, he could have mutated right after that and gotten a lot stronger. But the fact that he loses energy after using it for a bit already puts him at a disadvantage. No monster in the Heisei Godzilla series is ever shown to naturally get tired from fighting. Mecha Godzilla being able to hurt Godzilla a lot, and also not being affected by his atomic breath, was badly beaten the 2 times he malfunctioned or lost energy. Heisei Godzilla has the ability to keep on fighting, seeming to get stronger the longer the fight takes place. Shin Godzilla also leaks a lot of radiation from his body, which Heisei Godzilla has shown in the final moments of Godzilla vs. Destroyer that he is able to absorb radiation in the air. Also shown in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, with Godzilla getting more powerful after Space Godzilla's shoulders were broken. Shin Godzilla's only hope would be his atomic breath. If he could hit Godzilla first with his atomic breath, it may be able to knock down Heisei Godzilla. And if Shin Godzilla was able to somehow not die after taking one of Heisei Godzilla's atomic breaths, he might be able to mutate in time to be able to shield himself to Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath. But similarly to Shin Godzilla, Heisei Godzilla is also able to get more durable after he feels a certain type of attack. Space Godzilla, the first time they fought, knocked Heisei Godzilla off his feet after a blast of his laser. Later on, he was able to take a lot of Space Godzilla's attacks, despite being tricked into thinking he would hit him head on, but he instead aimed for his back. Heisei Godzilla is also highly intelligent, falling over on purpose at times, just so he can trick a monster to lower their guard, and in turn shooting them with his atomic breath. He would do the exact same thing to Shin Godzilla, and at that point, Shin Godzilla would be weakened from using his atomic breath, and Heisei Godzilla draining the radiation in the air, thus letting Heisei Godzilla get close, and being able to beat up on Shin Godzilla, thus defeating him with his atomic breath. Next is Legendary Godzilla. He's around 120 meters tall. He is fast, strong, and has a pretty quick and effective atomic breath. He was able to push around King Ghidorah and throw King Kong around, but he more has reasons for the things he does. Territory and pride. Both Heisei Godzilla and Legendary Godzilla are able to sense a threat far away, causing them to completely change direction. Legendary Godzilla chasing after Mecha Godzilla, and Heisei Godzilla going to the exact location a monster is in almost every Heisei Godzilla film. He even knew his son was in one building he was about to destroy. Monsterverse Godzilla's atomic breath was able to dig down to the Earth pretty quickly, and Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath was able to hurt Space Godzilla, who survived a black hole and multiple supernovas. And not only that, he was stated to overpower and overload Space Godzilla, with him causing him to explode. Both Godzillas have very strong atomic breath, with Heisei Godzilla's being stronger by a good amount. Legendary Godzilla was burnt and hurt badly by Mecha Godzilla's laser, but Heisei Godzilla was only shortly knocked down by a power surge caused by both of their lasers combined. But even when he was thrown into the air multiple times by Mecha Godzilla's plasma cannon, which was stated to be able to absorb Godzilla's atomic breath and shoot it back at him multiple times more powerful, Heisei Godzilla was still able to shoot his atomic breath at Mecha Godzilla, while Legendary was not able to do anything but lay there. Monsterverse Godzilla's main advantage would be his speed and strength. He can knock Heisei Godzilla down with his physical attacks, or even his atomic breath. But Heisei Godzilla would just get back up and either overpower Legendary Godzilla physically, or he would use his atomic breath in Legendary Godzilla's face. The battle would go on for a while, but Heisei Godzilla would rise to victor, after either knocking Monsterverse Godzilla out, or having him lose energy due to exhaustion, or Heisei Godzilla draining it out of him by biting him. Finally, we have Godzilla Earth, who many people say is the strongest Godzilla out there. He stands around 300 meters tall, but moves around very slowly. The physical attacks he has shown were effective against the military. His victory over Ghidorah doesn't really mean much, since they were easily defeated after they were made physical. Just one falling to the ground caused it to break apart. Godzilla Earth has a very strong atomic breath, being able to destroy a whole city, and he also has a very strong defense. but he is incredibly weak to his own atomic breath being shot back at him, according to his fight with Mothra. He only weighs 100,000 tons. Heisei Godzilla, being 60,000 tons, is able to easily throw around 150,000 tons, more than twice his body weight. Heisei Godzilla is able to also shoot electricity through his hands by physical touch. This would greatly affect Godzilla Earth due to his weakness to electromagnetic energy. And also Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath would break through his defense. Godzilla Earth's size and atomic breath would make this fight incredibly hard for Heisei Godzilla, being the hardest fight out of all the other Godzillas. Heisei Godzilla would be able to chip away at Godzilla Earth, slowly becoming stronger the more radiation he absorbed, while Godzilla Earth would be able to tail whip and to roar to knock Heisei Godzilla down. And Godzilla Earth using his atomic breath to push Heisei Godzilla would greatly damage him. But if there was a break in this fight, Heisei Godzilla would be able to get close to Godzilla Earth and push him over. The battle would go on until Godzilla Earth was too damaged to move, or Godzilla Earth exploded from being overloaded by Heisei Godzilla's energy. And the fight would have Heisei Godzilla using his red spiral heat ray multiple times, thus ending Heisei Godzilla's hardest battle out of all the other Godzillas. I haven't seen Godzilla -1 yet, so I can't do that one, but I'm sure Heisei Godzilla would win due to Godzilla -1's size. One thing to remember about all these Godzillas is that I don't think Heisei Godzilla would be able to completely destroy most of them. Eventually, they would be able to heal themselves and become stronger than before. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.